Hello, everybody, and Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays if do not celebrate Christmas. And I remembered to say it this time. So, yeah, I hope you all have been having a happy holidays. Today has been an interesting day. Well, great day. But my in game has taken a small misstep. So on Demon Lord yesterday, I had that conversation with y'all. Like, oh, I'm gonna use my other key on Nightmare. Didn't do it last night. Completely got distracted getting all the prep and everything, and just did not flat out do it. And so I only got the third chest on Nightmare. But we did get some nice little gifts today. So obviously the Christmas pack, which I talked about last video. Um, Daily login reward was a epic skill tome, which is always welcome. And I've been slowly throughout the day, I've been on it, grinding away at the spider tournament. You'll see we made great progress. Now, we are a little ways away from here. We're at 1825. We need 2750, but I am very confident that I'll be able to generate enough energy over the next 2 days, which I have. So, or I have 2 days worth of time. So, we will get those prism shards, which I'm excited about. The other area that we're going to have to potentially get prism shards is in this artifact enhancement event, where I can get 10 more crystals right here. Now, I generally don't do artifact enhancement events because they will tank your silver, which brings me to another interesting point. I received a comment today that made me genuinely smile. I was just like, I took it as a compliment. 42k silver, is that really free to play? Is what somebody said on my most recent video. And as you can see, we're already 2 million more silver over that. So it does raise the question, is this really free to play? You only have my word to take for it, but the other way that I can prove to you that it is free to play is if you just look at my deals. You'll see all my deals are very, very low dollar amount, because that's what they do in this game. Is they, when you start spending money in the game, is when they start charging you $50, $100 for packs. When you're low and free to play, then they're like, oh, let's give them a pack for $5 or $10 or $20 for like a really, really good deal. This for $20 is really, really good. Excuse me 1 second. um and they do stuff like that. So if anything, you can see I have a $3 mini mix pack. I'm not spending money on this game, okay, guys? So it does raise a question about how I have so much silver. And I myself wonder that. I think a big part of it is that I'm not over investing in champions. And what I mean by that is I try to think about like what other free to play accounts might be doing. So I've been blessed on this free to play account by getting really, really good champions right away. We got Geomancer very, very early. That's huge. In fact, if you go back and look at my older videos, you'll see that I keep talking about like, well, what if I get a Geomancer? What if I get a Geomancer? And then we got that. We also had Deacon day one because of that promo code, as well as having a great reviver and support in Ursula, who has, so all these three champions right here are amazing. Sun Wukong is one of the better, if not the best, free to play champions that's ever been offered in the game. We got Ultimate Death Knight from a Sacred Shard, who is still good and has given me a lot of value despite my initial thoughts on him. We were also blessed very early on with an Apothecary, which took us through a lot of content. And even Coffin Smasher helped us progress very early on in Clan Boss. So I've been pretty lucky on the account as far as champions, to where I don't need to build a large roster. I have a very focused specific roster that is kind of universally good. Um, a case in point being that I'm pretty high up in Doom Tower normal. So the first time I unlocked Doom Tower and started doing it, we got stalled by this boss. It was this rotation. I think maybe I made it past this boss, but I know I got stopped. Well, no, I think it was just the spider that stopped me. Um, because I don't really have, and I still don't really have champions to deal with that, but I have champions that can work around their mechanics. So, for example, I wasn't sure I'd be able to beat Floor 50 Scarab King, but this is my normal team. I just sub in a Ultimate Death Knight instead of Kale. And I'm not meaning to farm this by any means, but I just want to demonstrate to you guys once I get through the waves that this team kind of breaks the mechanics. I don't really need to. Ideally, you want to bring somebody in either a destroy set or somebody that can, through their skills, decrease enemy max HP. Obviously, none of these champions have that. Nor do I have a champion on my account that is capable of decreasing enemy max HP. Which raises the question, like, how do you progress past a Scarab King if you can't take down his max HP? Well, you bring big shields and you bring a Geomancer. I mean, it's that simple. So you'll see I pop shields with my UDK, and then even though the boss doesn't get hit very hard, you'll see these are very weak hits compared to what we would normally be doing against a boss like this. Look at how much damage he did to himself. And even though we get taunted, right, we're still tanky enough that we can survive. And I do have quite a bit of resistance, not the most, but quite a bit of resistance on Ultimate Death Knight. So you'll see he is resisting quite a few of these taunts. Now, some of them do go through, but once he's able to resist and get that A3 off, then the cycle ends because we have shields up and we just keep going at it. So he still has all of his max HP. We're just grinding through that shield and churning it out. So that is how having these really good champions makes a difference. What does this have to do with silver? Well, I quite frankly don't have to gear up a lot of champions. I have the gear for Sun Wukong. I have the gear on UDK. And look at how much of this is level 12 as well. I have my gear on Ursula. Also notice that there's still certain items that are level 12. There's a reason for that. All of this gear on a champion that I do not currently use is 12. And this is what I believe to be my secret. I'm focusing on a limited number of champions. I'm not building out a super deep roster and leveling up gear for 5 or 6 champions at a time. And then the champions that I'm not using but maybe want to build up for Faction Wars, I'm only taking their gear to level 12. The gap between level 12 and level 16 as far as silver goes is drastic. So let's say that we're going to build out Rey. I am not going to equip this gear on her for 2 reasons. Well, I guess one reason is that when I go to level her after she's 6-starred and I go to level her, I don't want her to be faster than my campaign farmer or be more survivable than my campaign farmer because it slows down the run. In a perfect world, your food or the champions that you're leveling die right away. And then your campaign farmer just does their job. It does go faster that way. What I've come to find out is that I've had characters that are level 50, I 6-star them, I put them in campaign to farm them up, only to find that they are faster than my campaign farmer, who is not in speed gear, because I only need him faster than Lord Shazar. However, what ends up happening is that they are tanky. They don't die. They stay alive. They start taking turns in between my campaign farmers. So a 6-second run very quickly goes into like 12 to 24 seconds. And it slows it down by quite a bit. So what I like to do is prepare the gear kind of mentally for a champion and say, this is the gear I'm going to put on them at some point, but not equip it until they are 6-star, because I have no intention, other than faction wars, I have no intention of using Rey at 50. I will wait until she is 60, which hopefully won't be too far away. While I'm using my energy right now for Spider, here coming up, I'll be using my energy to start leveling food again. So after Frozen Banshee gets leveled, then comes Rey. Okay, so let's talk about gearing up Rey and kind of give you guys an example of what I would do. So first off, what would be a perfect piece of gear on Rey? I like to start with the chest. This is just a personal preference for me, but it is what I like to start with. So a perfect chest would have attack percentage, crit rate, crit damage, speed, and I would say probably like HP or defense, right? But this would be a perfect chest right here. Attack percent main stat, speed, crit rate, and crit damage, because likely I'd be using her in the arena. Well, here we go. We have a perfect piece. It's a 5-star piece. We're going to use it. I don't use anything 4-star on this account anymore. So I would first take this. That's a misclick, but we're okay. Take this to 12. Now, I wanted to show you what it costs to go from 5 to 12, or from 4 to 12. We'll go from 5 to 12. So 118,000 silver. I've done this on the account before. I do believe that I'm going to use this piece, therefore I am going to take it to 16. We're also double dipping into the artifact enhancement event that I want to do in order to get those prism crystals. So this is a good time to level gear. So I took this piece to level 12, okay? If I wasn't looking to put this on a champion, if I wasn't in the middle of an artifact enhancement event that I want to do, I would likely leave this at 12. I would say, okay, these are the roles that we're dealing with. This bonus substat down here matters very little to me. Would I be happy if it was HP percent or defense percent to get a little bit more survivability? Absolutely. Would I be okay with resistance? Absolutely. Flat attack? Sure. Flat HP and flat defense? Not so much. But ultimately, that's not why I'm rolling it to 16. I'm rolling it to 16 because I want this attack percentage to go up to 50%. Right now, we're at 33%. That's a long ways away from 50%. That's a lot of attack that is left on the table. So we spent 112,000 to take this piece to 12. How much do we spend to take it to 16? 849,000. Roughly 8 times the amount of silver to go from 12 to 16 to get flat defense. Now, I did gain a ton of attack percentage, and this is a great piece to use that silver on, but the point that I'm trying to make is taking pieces from 12 to 16 costs a lot. So let's now talk about some champions that are not in use or are used for faction wars or other things like that. But first, before I do that, I want to talk about this piece right here. So this is a leveled up to 12 weapon. Why is this piece on Ursula? Let's take a look. HP percent. Yes, we want that on Ursula. We want her to be survivable because we want her to be able to revive anyone that dies. So theoretically, we want her to outlive them. Accuracy. Yes, we want that on Ursula. She has a decreased attack that is very important to our kit. She can also decrease turn meter a little bit. So we want her to have that. This attack percent, Not so much. It's what got rolled. That's fine. The other ones are more viable. There's likely a better weapon on my account for her at the moment, but I'm not in a point where I need to min max my Ursula for progression. I'm pretty stalled, not because of the strength of my gear. I'm stalled because of the strength of my champions. I'm lacking a very good turn meter control champion. I'm lacking some um well, quite frankly, I'm lacking some variance in my champions a little bit. I would love to be able to build a dedicated Ice Golem and Iron Twins team, but both of those teams I would need to not have War Master on certain champions. And right now, because Clan Boss is still a big focus for me, I need to have War Master on those champions because most of them are in my Clan Boss team. So, um, the team that I would like to build would be like a Geomancer based team for both of those dungeons where I don't trigger the boss, and the bosses kill themselves off of Geomancer's capabilities. And like I said, I lack turn meter control for Fire Knight, so I'm just kind of stuck at the moment as far as my roster goes. That's why I look forward to 2x events and chances to pull shards, etc., etc., etc. Um, Kind of forgot where I was going with this, but um, there's probably a better weapon that's on my account. This is just the one that I'm using, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If it gets to a point where I'm trying to do progression and my Ursula needs more accuracy or my Ursula needs more HP to be a part of the teams that I'm trying to do this content with, then I may have to get different gear for her. But for my purposes and what I want her to do on this account, this gear is all great for her. And there's no reason for me to adjust or change it as of right now. And I think being content with your gear is partly why I'm able to save up so much silver. The other thing I want to point out is this weapon is still at 12. It's on my one of my most used champions. Would I not benefit from from a defense percent on this bottom stat? Absolutely I would. But is it worth it? Well, first of all, there's no guarantee. It could roll flat attack, which serves no purpose for me. It could roll flat defense, which would be less good. Um, or even flat HP, which is still valuable, but not percent based stats, which is what you really want. But also, I don't need her to hit hard. I don't need the extra flat attack on the weapon itself. So taking that item up to 16 is a luxury, but not a requirement. My Ursula is not made or broken off of a level 12 weapon. Now, a helmet, a little bit, right? We want her to have high HP, so getting that extra HP from 12 to 16 is a big deal. Therefore, the weapon is 16. It's also a legendary weapon, which means I get a fourth roll. Well, hey, check that out. I got 3 rolls into accuracy on a champion that I want to have a lot of accuracy on. So I rolled that piece. Now this piece, I want a lot of defense on her as well. So I did take this piece up to 16. And look, I got that extra roll and it was accuracy. That's another great stat for her, right? So it's kind of picking and choosing. Also, understanding that I have a speed shield with a trip roll into speed. This item will never leave my account ever. This is an amazing item that my main account may not have an item this good. I mean, we have HP percent, accuracy, and a trip roll speed on a speed set. This is an amazing item. I will take that to 16 every time. This weapon, while it has accuracy and HP percent, but I don't need attack percent. Like, this weapon isn't as amazing as this shield. And therefore, it's not something that I may ever take to 16. Because odds are, what if I get a better weapon in the future for her? Right? Right now, I'm only talking about the top three. These are all flat base stats, okay? Which is why you could be more selective in the top three. Now, you'll see that I'm not super selective, but another great example right here, my Deacon Armstrong, the bread and butter of my account. He is my aura lead everywhere. He's my turn meter control, my decreased defense champion, my leech. He's what keeps my team alive. He does everything for me. He is the absolute backbone of this entire account. And he has 2 12-star pieces, 3 12-star pieces of gear. And the question becomes, why? Well, this is a blue weapon. I have a double speed roll. This weapon will likely be on my account for a while, but maybe I get an accuracy on that 16, but I don't need it. I don't need him to have the extra attack. I don't necessarily need him to have that extra accuracy. I have some pretty good fair amount of accuracy. I could do better. Similar here, we got double speed roll. We got some accuracy. We got some HP. This is a great item, but it's a 4-star item. I do not want to use this item on him forever. In fact, I didn't realize because I haven't been paying as close of attention, but we could always check and see, do we have a better weapon on the account? No, I'm looking for speed. That's what I'm looking for here, and I don't have it. Now, why am I looking for speed? Because he's my speed or a lead. He needs to be the fastest guy on my team. So I'm going to take this perception set, even though it's 4-star, over the other pieces of perception that I have. But I need the replacement to be a perception piece because I need accuracy on this champion. I'm also going to look right. Boom. This is what we've been waiting for. I have not had an accuracy 5-star piece. I know it looks like I do, but I just looked and I now have 2 more, but all I had was a 4-star accuracy piece. This one right here for the longest time, but now we have this one, which is great. We've got speed on it as an option, which again, we talked about being a great stat for him. I'm going to take this to 12 and just see what the rolls are. Boom, double speed. This is a perfect item for a Deacon here. But so I'm going to take this to 16, and that will lead me into what items I do take to 16. We got some defense on him too. This is really, really good rolls. Everything on this is great. I've been waiting to get an accuracy banner for a long time on my Deacon. So now we have a ton of accuracy, which we've needed for quite some time. And we got more speed out of that as well. So now my Deacon's at 212. We have way more speed to work with for my other champions to be built a little faster now. Okay. So let's now talk about the bottom 3, or the middle 3, I guess, and the bottom 3, if you want to look at it that way. Why do I tend to take these ones to 16 more often? Well, I'm actually not worried about the rolls as much as I am the base stats. Because we're working with percentage-based gear, I'm looking and saying, or speed, I'm looking here and saying, okay, I have a 5-star set of speed boots with speed as the main stat. I need to level that up. If I take a item that is a speed main stat and 5 stars, it's 26 speed at 12. It's 40 speed at 16. That's a huge speed difference. And that, plain and simple, is why I have why this piece is 16 and why most of my champions will be in 5 or 6-star boots. Now, why aren't these leveled up? Well, I just haven't had a champion to put them on yet. So they stay at 12. But you'll see that the rolls they have, aren't great. The substats here are worse than the substats here because we have HP and we have defense and even a little bit of resistance. I would love for that to be accuracy, or maybe this HP to be accuracy, but I'm happy with the substats that we have currently on him, and I wouldn't want to sacrifice that 3000 HP or that 128 defense. So your bottom or your middle three, you're likely going to want to take to 16 for the main stats that are on those items. Even though these are good speed boots with good substats, let's take a look here at these, the HP ones, resistance and attack. These aren't really the stats that I'm looking for on a Deacon Armstrong in the substat rolls. However, I've got 50% HP coming off that chest plate. That's what you want. I need survivability on my Deacon as well as speed. Would love to see these roll speed on the substat, but you got to make sacrifices at some point. What filters? I got filters going. There we go. Okay. I wanted to take a look at real quick because I've built some perception gear. I just wanted to look and see if I had any other HP based or defense based perception gear. You see, this is a very interesting piece, and honestly, it's not good. There may be a scenario where I use this piece, and because I still have a lot of room in my inventory, I won't get rid of it. But having the crit damage and crit rate on defense-based gloves, if I have a champion that needs crit rate or crit damage, I want that on the main stat, not on the substats to a defense item. If I'm running a defense or an HP item, I want accuracy as the substat. I want speed as the substat. I want defense percentage or the opposite. So if I have a defense percent main stat, I want HP percent on the substat. That's really what I'm looking for, because I'm looking for that item to be on a debuffer or a support or something like that. If I put defense-based gauntlets on a champion, I don't really want them to have extra crit damage or crit rate. It's nice to have, but what other stats am I sacrificing? That being said, a champion like Ultimate Death Knight, for example, would benefit from these being 6-star because his shield is based around his defense, and you want that shield to be as much value as possible. So ideally, I'd hope that it would roll into the HP portion, and maybe we get a substat of speed or accuracy or something like that, or resistance. So it still has its value. It's just kind of a weaker piece compared, like if you consider what it's going to be used for. So I'm conservative with my silver. That is how I'm able to have 40 million silver on my account, simply because I am conservative with my silver. Now, we took several pieces up to 16, and we only got 625 points. I need to get to 4,000 points. So it's going to be a lot of silver. So I'm going to be going through and carefully looking and evaluating my pieces and making sure that I'm doing my best to optimize and use my silver in the most efficient ways. Before I run out of time, the other things that I do, I've mentioned this before, and I know I've made videos about silver before, but I took a little bit longer to specifically explain my direction and reasoning and kind of what I do. The other big thing is where you farm. Farm stage 3 brutal. Look, you get more XP for farming stage 6. Stage 7 becomes inefficient. While I do believe it's an XP gain, it becomes inefficient because Mortu Macabre is unpredictable and could possibly one-shot your farmer. So stage 6 would be the more XP route. However, stage 3 is more silver because shields sell for more than what boots do. So I farm stage 3 brutal. That's the only stage that I farm on both of my accounts. I auto sell those shields and profit. The other thing that I do too on my main account is I've gotten kind of greedy with gear, or I guess conservative with gear. I don't know. But something that I do that I would recommend you guys do even on free-to-play accounts. So Dragon 20, this is my biggest dungeon that I farm. I'm in here all the time, blowing my energy on auto battles just to gain resources. But if we look at my filters, you will see that I turn off all the flat stat gloves, all the flat stat chests, all the flat stat boots other than speed. It's gone. It's not sitting in my, I mean, when's the last time you've done a purge of your account and gone through all of the flat stat gear? It piles up. Like my account, it doesn't. And that's what I've turned all of that into silver. So if we look at flat stat, oh, sorry, wrong ones. Flat HP, flat attack, flat defense. Doesn't exist on my account at all. And what does that equate to? That equates to 40 million silver. I also sell bad pieces. My silver skyrocketed during Clan v Clan because this was the first Clan v Clan where I could forge some 5 to 6 star weapons, which I then immediately sold. The other thing that you can do, which I've been stalling on doing, but if you are at a point where you're consistently farming these materials from Faction Wars, the legendary ones, you can actually forge your 3 to 4 star stuff and just sell it all. Because you won't be crafting the 4 to 5 star stuff anymore. You'll only be crafting the 5 to 6 star. I'm at the point where I will only craft 5 to 6 star. I'm just not at the point yet where I don't have, I'm consistent enough in Faction Wars. And that is part of the reason I have 40 million silver. I haven't been actively playing the game as much. I haven't been actively leveling up my pieces, trying to make my characters better. That's why I didn't know whether or not I had a replacement piece for my Deacon Armstrong 4-star shield. I had to look, right? A big part of that is because I don't go to upgrade my champions probably as much as I should. I know that I keep talking about doing a rework on my gear for Sun Wukong, getting some more damage out of him. I'll be shortly after the next Clan v Clan, hopefully the books land right for me, and I'll be able to take advantage of my Venom Age. So I'm playing very passively, very slowly. If someone's playing their only account as a free-to-play account, and you don't have another account where you can go through and like do the fun stuff of raid, then you will get to a point where you're just bored and you're like, well, how do I fix this team? Like, right? Like how do I do this? If this was my main account and I'm sitting here like, I want Spider 20. I'm farming on Spider 16 right now, and it's frustrating me. I want to farm on Spider 20 to get the maximum efficiency for this tournament. How do I do that? What do I need to do? Where do I squeeze out the extra damage? Okay, so this is my team. Okay, well, what do I need on my Geomancer? Like, let's look at, how do I get my Geomancer more powerful? Oh, only 168 accuracy. Oh, he's got some 12-star pieces of gear here. He doesn't have an accuracy banner. What changes can I make? And you start tweaking and are like, maybe you have a couple of banners that you can play around with. And you say, okay, well, I'm gonna level up this banner. I'm gonna take it all the way to 16 because I need that accuracy, which I am actually gonna take this to 16 because I need the accuracy. Well, when you're doing all that stuff, you are spending a lot of silver at a fast rate, and it adds up over time. I'm not saying to not play that way. You play this game how you want. I'm saying that I have the luxury of being someone who has a main account and does that on my main account. My Clan v Clan score this past Clan v Clan was really bad for my standards because the night before I was pushing content. I think it was City of Centranos, and I was building and leveling champions. Building my Harima, leveling, spending books, or I know I was working on Hydra. That's what it was. I was doing Hydra on my day off, which was the day before Clan v Clan, and I was upgrading gear like crazy. I was changing builds, changing kits. Like, I spent a ton of resources the night before Clan v Clan because I'm progressing in content. I'm pushing content. That's what I want to do. And that stuff, has ramifications on your account where you're going to be like, oh man, I did all this stuff, but now I don't have silver, which I didn't have silver on my account. I had to go through and drain my forge, and I probably went through 60 million silver that day, just doing all this stuff so that I could improve my Hydra clan boss team, which I did. I set a new personal record for Brutal of over 100 million. I don't remember the exact score. Man, we're going really over time, but that's that account. And this account is, I'm taking my time. I'm going a little slower to conserve resources for these exact moments. This exact moment where I want to spend my silver, level up gear so that I can get points in this event. So I'll do the rest of this off camera because I've taken up enough of your time. But I hope I've kind of enlightened you guys as to why I have so much silver on my account. And it's purely because I'm conservative with gear, and I'm also playing the game at a very slow rate. It doesn't feel like that to you because I've been able to cheese my way forward using great champions like Ursula, Geomancer, and Deacon Armstrong. If you don't have access to those champions, the game is quite a bit harder, frankly. So I hope I've kind of cleared that up for y'all. We're a week from tomorrow is the next Clan v Clan. Hopefully I can get some friggin' books on this account. Clan Boss is not being nice to me. Granted, I screwed up, but I need some epic tomes, man. Now, thankfully, I am doing very well in the Doom Tower. So there are chances that I can get books and tomes and things through here. So, but thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate all your support. I haven't looked yet at my subscriber count. 482. We are 18 away. Our goal for the channel is 500. Once I can hit 500, it opens up the membership options on the account, and I'll start streaming on YouTube and kind of starting maybe producing a little more content. It would be perfectly timed if all of that can happen at the end of the holidays, and I can, when I get some more time to play games and do stuff. So, but yeah, thank you guys for all your support. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.